Hello and welcome to jasonnewland.com. My name's Jason Newland and this is Let Me Bore You to Sleep. And it's Monday's Boring Objects. Monday's Boring Objects. And today's Monday, the 8th of December. Wow. 8th of December 2025. It'll be Christmas soon. Eee. It's an overcast day, but it's not cold, it's not raining, which is, I'm not that bothered about the cold, but the rain is a little bit, it's just a little bit, you know what I mean? It's a bit wet. Wet's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, a little bit wet, but today isn't. Yeah, I think Finny got wet yesterday at least once, as I did as well. The thing is, he won't let me dry him off. So he'll just sit there shivering. And I can't even get close to him to dry him off. So in the end, he sat next to me. I'm just rubbing him, like trying to dry him off with my hand, as it were. It's weird, because some dogs, I mean, Logie, who lived downstairs, he used to love having a bath and being dried off with a hand dryer, a hairdryer, whatever. He used to love that. Vinny, no. No. Mind you, Andre hated baths. He used to, I mean, bearing in mind, I didn't really need to fill it very, very high because he was so little, but he just look up at me and like, why? Why? Why would you do this to me? And what was even weirder is because he was, once his fur was wet, he just looked like this skinny little thing. He looked funny. But once he was out, he did exactly the same as what Vinny does. He'd run around, rub himself on the floor, rub himself on the bed. They were almost identical the way they behave after getting out of the bath. And they both got a thing about getting onto my bed and dry themselves off on the bedclothes, which I don't think is a good idea. And they've both done the same thing, which I wasn't pleased about, which is try and rub themselves off, dry themselves off on my pillow. Not on his pillow, but on my pillow. And we've got a rule. There's an invisible line down the middle of the bed. He sleeps one side, I sleep the other side. My pillow was on the other side, which is near the wall. He doesn't go near that. Well, he's not supposed to. That's why I would never leave him in the flat on his own in my bedroom, because who knows what he's going to get up to. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't even put a camera in there to film it because I don't want to see it. Because he'd do something to that pillow that I wouldn't want to know about. He's so rude. So it's 3:15 or 2:45 p.m. in the afternoon. I'll be taking the little monkey out at 3:30. For some reason, he's not eating his breakfast. Yet he's expecting me to go and get him a treat and he's whining for it as well. But no, mate, no, you go and eat your dinner. Yesterday he left it all day and he just had to chuck it out. But then when I got him some chicken and some vegetables and stuff, he golloped. You know, he ate all up, gobbled. That's it. There is a difference between galloping and gobbling and gobbling. Yeah, gobbling and gallop is two different things, isn't it? Anyway, he ate it very quickly. Which is fair enough. I understand why he'd prefer chicken over his dog food, but it is decent God food. Decent God food. Wow, my words are getting very muddled up today. It's decent food. It's not like really the cheapest food there is. I mean, each, what's you get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 cans cost about 2, 4, 6. I think 6 cans, 6 or 8 cans. So about £1 each, if not more. So it's not like they're like really cheap ones, is it? £1 a can. Yeah, it's not a lot, is it? I suppose, but I'm not getting like 24 packs of food for £12. 24 for £12. That'd be 50p each, wouldn't it? 24, yeah. Although sometimes you'll eat that as well. So it's anyone's guess what he's going to be like, but he never turns down some kind of meat. He loves meat cooked. Well, he'll eat it raw as well if he can, but I just give him a worming tablet. I actually wrapped it in some chicken last night and gave it to him, and he just gabbled it all up. I'm going to use that word now, gabbled. He gabbled it all up. And it wasn't a whole tablet, it was like just about half a tablet, because he's only little. I mean, I don't know how much he weighs, but he can't weigh more than 5 to 10 kilos. I mean, he's little. He's so little. But it seems to have done a trick, because he was spending a lot of time looking at his bum, and now he's not anymore. So I think maybe he had an agitation, and now that agitation has been resolved. I'm hoping. So anyway, without focusing on that part of his body, what shall I talk about today? Did I say only listen when you can safely close your eyes? I'm not sure. I don't know. Any questions? I need to do that, don't I, on the Facebook page. Any questions for Q&A Friday, which would be... Should I do that now while I'm thinking about it? Right. I'm going to look at this. What do I do? I realised what went on with the Jason Newland's boring group. I wasn't getting to see the latest post because it just kept coming up as featured. No, most relevant. And the most relevant, the top one for most relevant is the 25th of November. So if I click on recent activity, then it'll show a post that I replied to Laura, which was, Jason, I'm not an Apple girly, so I'm not certain that it'll work the same way. It's my eyesight this time, not my words. but my Spotify will do the same songs every time I shuffle too, referring to Monday's Boring Objects' favourite songs last week. And I found that if I clear the cache and force stop, the app, it kind of resets itself and will shuffle differently. Might be worth a try. As always, much love. Thanks for always being there when I need to hear a familiar voice. Thank you, Laura. I have replied. Thanks, Laura. I shall look into this. The thing is, I'm not sure if I can, because I listen to, predominantly, I listen to Apple songs, the music, on my television. I do listen to Apple Music on my phone, but I don't listen to, because I've got my own playlist, my favourite songs, which are just various. I did talk about them last week. But when I'm in bed, I listen to classical music. So I've got a few classical albums that I listen to, and a few favourites I return to, and I don't mind them being in order. I've got no issue with that. In fact, it's probably quite good, because it's soothing. I'm going to just be listening to some classical music now, and help me get out of a bit of a funk that I was in. So, it's an hour or so of listening to that with my eyes closed can help. So, I need to do this. So I need to post any questions for this week's Q&A Friday, and I don't know what. Apparently, it's the 12th. Apparently, the Facebook are going to stop groups, some kind of chat thing on groups. So I've got no idea how that's going to affect our group. The Let Me Bore You, Jason's, wow, I can't even remember. Jason Newland's boring group, that's it. You can join if you want, it's on Facebook. I don't know how it's going to affect it though. So Facebook are making changes. So we'll just have to wait and see. So I'll put that up there. Any questions for this week's Q&A Friday? And I will also post it. I will pin to featured, so it stays on the featured board. Right, yeah, it's done. So what I thought I would do is, as a boring objects, I wanted to do something that was positive for me. I know it sounds a bit self-centered, but wow, that is what I'm doing. I mean, I'm self-centered, so it's fine. I kind of looking for a way to remind myself of the point of all this, why I do what I do, and I guess trying to remember why I started doing all this, what I was aiming for, what my intentions were, what my goals were. And I suppose ultimately my goal was to help as many people as I could. Because I know people used to say to me, like, well, just, really, Vinny? Thanks. People used to say to me, well, just do sessions 1-to-1, which I did back 2006. I was doing chronic pain release sessions, and I was doing other stuff. So I was also doing 2006, 2007. I was doing group relaxation sessions into a drug rehab and an alcohol charity. So I kind of, I was expanding in a way, and they're the recordings I first put online for people to listen to, because I recorded them. And then I started recording the one-on-one sessions, only when the person had closed their eyes and I started talking. Now, obviously, I let them know as well. I didn't record the conversation I had with them. And then I trained as a counsellor, and people was like saying, well, you're a counsellor now, one-on-one, help people one-on-one, because that's what you trained for. And from a counselling perspective, I couldn't really see a way of, I'm not saying it's not possible, but at the time, I didn't really see a way of helping large amounts of people, or reaching large amounts of people with the hope of helping in a counselling, therapeutically counselling perspective. But then, as I was training, and even after I trained, I tried to incorporate things I'd learnt into my sessions. Things I'd learnt from doing therapy with people, things I'd learnt from my own therapy, having been in therapy for many years over the years, things I'd learnt from my own life, and things I'd learnt from reading, studying. Just a mixture of different things that I could incorporate and hopefully help others. And then being creative with it, allowing my mind to come up with stuff that perhaps was, it felt unique to me. It might not have been unique, but it felt new, almost like I was thinking up something that was creative. It's very hard to know what's original and what's not, though, because especially if you read a lot of books and I've just seen and read, heard so many things, it's hard to know what's original anymore. I might come up with a thought and think, wow, and then it might not be an original thought. I was hoping for a more dramatic ending to that sentence, really, if I'm honest. I was thinking, but it didn't come. So here's me talking about creativity, and nothing creative came out of my mouth. Oh well. But trying to get back to why I started. It's not just why I started, but why did I continue? Because in those first few years, I suppose the first 10 years, maybe the first, I don't know, however many years, first 10 years, I used to get a fair bit of negativity from family, and even any new person that I'd meet. They always say the same thing, like, why'd you do it for free? Why is it free? No one will appreciate it if it's free, if you give it away for free. And how much do you earn? Like, no, it's a free service. How much do you charge? I just told you it's a free service. And I remember when I moved in here and I met Luke, and I told him, because things were going, by by that time I'd been doing it for 9 years. And I told him that I was probably the most successful failure on the internet, because I was doing quite well as far as reaching an audience, but it's, you know, to the outside world, or people that my close world, people in my life, I was just wasting my time, it seemed. And I could never understand that, really, because to me, I know it'd be different, because if I had a kid, maybe I'd see the world a lot different to the way I do now. But if I had a child, or a brother, or someone that was doing something that really aiming to help people, that... Can you make a bit more noise, please, Vinny? Thanks. He's just wandering around. He's getting a bit restless. But I have tried to take him out for longer periods of time, because there is that, you know, when it's raining, he doesn't get out so much. And in the winter, the journeys outside are of less duration. Just because if it's cold or it's raining or too windy or whatever, you know. I don't want a tree falling on me. And trees, some of them do fall down around here. So I try, you know, I don't feel particularly comfortable being out in really bad weather. And he doesn't seem to like it either, to be honest. But what I decided is when it's calm, when it's dry, I'll make sure he has a good long one, at least once a day. So we'll go all the way around. Like yesterday, we went all the way around the estate. So we were gone for, I don't know. For me, a long one would be about an hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. But walking, not just sniffing grass. I mean, admittedly, you know, Vinny's very patient and he waits me to finish the sniffing. But it's just, come on, Dad, that grass can't be that interesting. But an hour, or if we're in the fields, a couple of hours, you know, if it's a nice enough day. So it all depends, but I'm trying to get him out for at least like 45 minutes to an hour. And once January arrives, because on the 21st of December is the longest day of the year, so it'll start to get light again. Gradually, but it will start to get lighter. So come January, it'll be lighter in the evenings. Slightly lighter in the mornings. So, because at the moment, it's getting dark at 4 o'clock, which I just think is ridiculous, but it is. So 3:30 is pretty much the latest I can take him out if I want to take him out for a proper. I'm trying to stop myself from saying the word WALK, and we. For the first half an hour, it's just gradually getting duller. And by 4:15, it's pretty much dark. So it's that, you know, between 4 and 4:15, it's that light where you can see the ground. But if you dropped a pin, to be fair, what am I saying? If you dropped a pin, broad daylight, I wouldn't be able to see it. But if you know, it's not really ideal. It's not clear anymore. It's starting to get muggy, you know, light-wise. But that's okay, because by then he'll have done what he needs to do, if he needs to go to the toilet, and we'll just be on our way back. We'll stay on the pavement, and he's got his little light. He'll have that on him. and all's good. And that'll be the last time he goes out today for a journey out. And then later on, he'll do a wee-wee in the garden, probably about 8, 9 or whatever, and then that'll do him until tomorrow morning. And then I've got the two options. I take him out around 7, because it's just around, is it light by 7? No, 8. Yeah, 8. So 8 in the morning. It's light enough at 8 in the morning to go out. Or I wait till 9. So I don't go during the school. So if I take him out at 8, we're not out for long, and then we get back by about 8:30, and then there's all people running around, getting, leaving for work and for school and all that stuff. So ideally I wait till like 9 o'clock, just after, take him out. Today it was 10, because I had a weird night last night, actually. I went to bed early, then I woke up at 11 in the evening. I needed to eat, so I got something to eat. Then I went to bed at 1. I woke up at 7. Had my breakfast at 8. Listened to some music, closed my eyes, and Vinny woke me up, and it was like 10:30. I was like, what? I felt this like tapping on my left arm, and it was him. He was basically just putting his paw on my left hand, on my left arm, trying to wake me up. So I woke up, and then we just went out. I don't know how long we was out for. Shall I have a little look? Because I've got my camera. That should tell me how long we was out for. I bet it's not as long as I thought. Oh, I got the times wrong. The times were wrong. It wasn't 10. So we left at 10:27. Okay, so it must have been just after 10. He woke me up. So we left at 10:27. We came back at 11:03. So it wasn't, it's just over half an hour, wasn't it? So, and at half an hour, 36 minutes. Okay, so it wasn't quite as, it seemed longer for some reason. But yesterday, let's go back to yesterday morning. We went out at, what time did we go out at? 9:40. And we got back at 10:22. So, okay, it's 40 minutes, so still not like an hour, but it's longer. 40 minutes is kind of, 30 to 40 minutes is fairly average. Then I went out at 3:36 yesterday and got back at 4:11, and it's crazy. Honestly, it's light outside when I leave. When I get back at 4:11, it's dark outside, because actually it's not like pitch black, but it is dark. Just in that small time. And then at 17, so, and there's a person detected as 5:05, and it's completely pitch black house. It's not pitch black because there's street lights, but it's, you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I wonder what kind of son I would have had if I'd reproduced would have been a weirdo like me. I do think that I'd be a bit like Forrest Gump, in a sense of, like going to the nurses, or to, I don't know, if I had a girlfriend who'd just given birth. I'm not saying it could be a nurse that gave birth, but it could be a nurse that gave birth if I was dating a nurse. I dated about 6 nurses, so that, I'm just saying it could be an engineer, it could be anything. The person their job's not really relevant. But I was thinking more of walking up to a nurse and just saying, is he normal? Is he like me? Kind of, and that would worry me, I think. Because it's hard to know how much of life is, because, if you study this stuff, you realise that it's kind of environment plus genetics, what we heredit, and stuff that happens in our lives. So it's hard to know. Hard to know. Oh. I inherited my mum's hands. Tiny little hands. Honestly. I put my finger in my ear the other day, just to clear my ear out, and my arm got stuck. It's not true. I don't know why I said that, but the visual's quite humorous. Imagine someone going to the doctors, or in A&E, the emergency ward, and the hand stuck in their ear. Wow. So I suppose I could, let's say the boring objects talking about the podcasts, the Let Me Bore You to Sleep podcasts. I remember I was sitting down the other side of the room. It was near the window, and I was sitting at a table, and I had a YouTube video comment saying, I think it was to one of my Jason chat vlogs things, saying, oh, I always fall asleep when I listen to you talking. And I thought, but this isn't a sleepy recording. This is me talking about my life. This is interesting. What do you mean you fall asleep? I didn't type that in because that was a lot of words, and I'm not a texter. How I've a couple of people, I don't know that many people, but they'll send texts, and I kind of have to just say, fine, thanks, yeah, cheers, because if I give any indication that I'm asking a question or inquiring, the conversation can end up being like 2-3 hours long via text, when it can be 3 or 4 minutes long by phone. And I just can't do it. I've never really been very good at texting. It's a little bit different, I guess, I'm going back a while, but at the beginning of a new romantic fling relationship thing, but even then, I can't gauge at all how my text has been received. I don't know, because humour's not, I mean, it's selective anyway, but it's very, saying something and writing it down, it doesn't always I don't think it really comes across the same. I suppose if you know someone really, really well, then you could add their voice to the text, and you can kind of gauge it. If you know them well enough, you realise they're joking or not or whatever. But the weird thing about it is I've done so well dating on the phone, but in person, it goes honestly more than once. I have, and I don't mean like blind dates on the phone, then meeting them. Even women that I've met, got their telephone number, maybe given them my telephone number, and they've phoned me, and I'm talking to them on the phone for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And then when we meet, it's like a complete stranger sitting in front of me. Like nothing like the person they were on the phone. And I'm exactly the same as I am on the phone. I mean, it might sound like I'm putting myself down. I think it's because I sound different to how I look. And imagine how groovy I would have sounded when I was in my 20s. I sounded about 5. Like, hi, my name's Jason. I didn't have a high-pitched voice, but it was definitely higher than it is now. Not quite as croaky. But there's an intimacy of talking to somebody on the phone, and I don't mean like rude wise. I mean, just, there can be that as well, but I mean just generally there's an intimacy there, because you're literally you're talking directly into their ear, which, unless you was in some kind of romantic situation, it generally wouldn't happen. You wouldn't. Would that be weird, wouldn't it? The closest thing you're going to get, really, I think, is when the doctor's looking inside your ear with one of those telescope things, where they look through the end of it and they put it in your ear, and then talking to you at the same time. I always got a little bit turned on when that happened. I don't know why I said that. But generally, it's whispering in your ear, that's a little bit different, but I think when there was this lady that I met at the comedy club during the disco, and I really liked her. We didn't spend much time together. She was dancing, and at the end of the evening, I gave her my number. She gave me hers, or I might have just given her my number. I'm not sure. She called me a couple of days later, and we're talking on the phone. It must have been like 4 or 5 hours. It was just went on forever. And it even got... the conversation went everywhere. I mean, she almost told me a life story, and there's so much we talked about. And in that situation, I think I'm quite a good listener on the phone. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. In person, I hog the conversation a bit too much. On the phone, I'm a little bit more of a listener. Maybe on the phone, I do hog it, but people like to hear me more than if I'm in person, because my face distracts them. I did have, if I'd known that, I could have just got the I did have one female. She came round and he said it's a bit weird. We've been talking on the phone for weeks now. It's just strange being in person with you. I said, but you met me before, originally. She said, yeah, I know, but I forgot. I said, you forgot what? She said, it don't matter. Wait a second, I'll just be back. She ran to her car. I thought she was going to drive off, but she didn't. Kind of wish she had now, but when she came back, and she pulled a blindfold out. And I thought, oh, she's kinky. What's next? It's going to be a whip. And I'm not really into all that stuff, really. I don't want to be chained up. And I thought, oh, okay then. And I thought, you want me to put that on for you? She said, yes, please. So I go behind her, and she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm putting it on for you. She said, no, you put it on yourself. I said, why? She said, you did that wrong, didn't you? I said, what do you mean? He said, you got it wrong. The story's wrong. The idea is that I'm supposed to put it on so I can't see you. I said, yeah, I know. She said, do you think anyone's going to notice that we got the story wrong? Well, it's a made-up story anyway, so I'm not sure if anyone's really listening. I mean, we've been talking for a while. Some people have really drifted off, dreaming about jelly beans and ice creams and bananas floating down the river full of chocolate. I don't know. Well, So, yeah, she asked me to put it on. I thought she wanted me to put it on myself. Forget that other bit. She said, no, it's for me. So, as soon as she put the blindfold on herself, she relaxed. And she could talk. And she'd like, oh, this is much better. Talk to me now. I was like, okay. But I just found it a little bit rude. I mean, 1, 2, there was another lady, admittedly it was kind of like a blind date, but we spoke to each other on the phone for a while, and eventually we met, and I went round to her flat after work, and she just laid down, pulled the settee out into a bed, laid down, and I thought, wow. And she rolled over and went to sleep. And I just... So yeah, that was a bit of a strange one. And I waited and waited for her to wake up. I'm talking in the morning, so I just go to sleep, wait up, and she's 3 days later, she's still asleep. So she might be asleep now, I don't know. I wonder if she was pretending to be asleep. Yeah, I'm trying to think. There was this lady that this is 2010, and no, 2011. Yeah, 2011 was a proper weird year. 2011, there was this lady that I'd met at the Buddhist centre, and I really liked her, and then she just disappeared. Didn't see her for absolutely ages. And it's kind of weird because there was also another lady that I really liked, and I hadn't seen her for ages, and they both turn up on the same night. The difference is one had actually asked out. Not like romantic, just if she'd like to go for coffee, and she said, no thanks, I've got a boyfriend. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So I just moved away. Now she said to me, let's get each other's telephone numbers before I go, and we can go out together. I said, all right. But at that point, I kind of, no, you rejected me before, so Probably not going to happen. But the other lady, who I hadn't seen for, wow, maybe a year, more than, something like that. She seemed all happy to see me. I didn't have a number, so I gave her my number. And she phoned me, and we spoke every single night. Every single night. It got to the point where I was almost like having to do a wee, but do it at the edge of the toilet so she couldn't hear it. But I didn't want to stop the conversation. But at the same time, I didn't want her to know that I had that I was going to the toilet. And I don't know, it's just a little bit diminishes the romance, possibly. I don't know. By the way, if you're going to do that, one thing you've got to remember, don't flush the toilet, because that can be heard. And you can only really get away with a wee if there's something else you need to do. It's probably better just to call back. And unless you want to, they're saying, what's going on? Is your house being bombed? Is there an earthquake going on? I said, yeah. Earthquake and a volcano. Oh, it's not firework night, is it? Yeah, that as well. Wow, sitting on the echo chamber. So yeah, I think that's what I would do if I ever got the death penalty and stuff. Like if I was to say, we don't have that here, but in America, and I'd have a request. I said, don't worry about. Well, so I would have a last meal, but I want to sit on a toilet when you do it. I don't want just visuals. I want auditory. I want to have a big curry. At least an hour beforehand, because it amused me. And all these people sitting there trying to be serious. It's hard to be serious when you're hearing farts. It is. But the only thing that can make anyone laugh at a funeral is a fart. And there's nothing funny about a funeral, but a fart is funny in all situations. And it's funny because really it's not even a fart that's funny. It's the fact that you're not allowed to laugh in that situation that makes it funnier. And that what makes it harder. Because the more you try not to laugh, the more you laugh. It's like trying to stay awake. The more you try and stay awake, the less awake you're going to be, And I've sat there in weddings and stuff and just all serious situations and had a funny idea. The idea in my head might literally just be me laughing. And how out of place that would be. And then the idea of me laughing, and then the idea of me trying to stop myself from laughing made it a funnier situation, a funnier visual. And then I'd start imagining myself really in that situation, and what would I do? And sometimes that will result in me laughing. And it's not the situation that's funny. Because there's nothing funny about a wedding. It's quite a serious thing, isn't it? So, never really saw the point of weddings. I can see why someone will get married if that's what they want to do, and all that stuff, and the ceremony. And I know there's a lot of, it's an industry and it creates jobs and I don't know, it just seems a very expensive thing to do. And I don't know, just I haven't been to a lot of weddings. And all the weddings I've been to have been nice. But I still don't really, just, I don't know, see the point of it. From my perspective, I'm not sure. I mean, it's traditionalism, isn't it? And I guess if someone grows up as a kid watching, I don't know, Disney movies, or maybe having seen a royal wedding or seen it in movies, or, maybe it's that fantasy, isn't it? And I don't know if it was up to men. I mean, I don't know if there would be any weddings, or as many. I don't know. But then I see a lot of gay men getting married, like weddings. I don't mean getting married, but I'm talking about actual weddings and, all the get up. It just seems like a very expensive. I mean, getting in debt for one day of paying for other people to eat. Mind you, the food's normally really good, isn't it? When's the last wedding I went to? I think it was my brother's. Before that was my sister's. No, no, in between that. So I went to my friend's wedding, which was, it was before I moved here, so it's probably 2009, because they've been together for like 17 years. Well, they were together for 17 years, but and they got married after being together for like 2 years. So yeah, that'll be about 2010 then they got married. And then I'm trying to think of any other weddings I've been to. Not many. I got invited to a wedding for someone that I worked with, but I just didn't go. Just couldn't face it. I know it's bad, but I didn't have anything to wear, and I just didn't. And the whole RSVP thing, I didn't really understand what all that was about. Just I understand they need to know who's going, but going to a wedding on your own, which I always have, I've never had anyone to go to a wedding with, as in partner. So, I think to me, it was outside of a family wedding, it could be a little bit awkward, because on a family wedding, I'm sitting with family. If it's a friend's wedding, I'm sitting with her friends. Luckily, a couple of those friends I knew with my other friends, so that was okay. But I haven't been to a wedding for a long time. How weird. Right, I have to take Vinny out. It's now 3:36. So this is my this is my Monday's boring objects. I guess I know I ended up talking about weddings, but I was trying to sort of figure out why I do what I do, or what I have done what I've done, finding a reason behind it. Without, I don't mean, I mean this in a positive way, really, just looking at it from a positive perspective. What I don't know how to word it, really, but what is my purpose? Yeah, I'm just going to put purpose. And because it's such a long time ago that I started doing this, it's kind of difficult to remember the purpose. Because I was so young back then. I was like 35, was I? 35. It's quite young, isn't it? I'm now 55. So I was 35 years old, January 2006. And I'd been studying hypnosis and psychology and counselling since 1998. NLP as well. I'd already was an NLP master practitioner in 1999. And then in September 2007, I started my degree in counselling, which I wouldn't have even started that if it hadn't been for doing the hypnosis recordings and volunteering and stuff like that. So it's all led to good stuff, but it doesn't seem to be leading anywhere now. But then I didn't do it for it to lead anywhere. I was hoping to help people. That was it. Yeah. I don't know, just talking out loud, really. Speaking out loud. Down. It's already starting to get dull outside. 21 minutes to 4 p.m. It should not be getting dark at 4 o'clock. It's ridiculous. Come on. Not anywhere. Not any time of the year. It's silly. So, I'm going to go. Thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy. And be gentle with yourself. You deserve to feel safe. Lots of love. Bye.